Hey everyone, my name's Walter, and we're back here with more content from Reddit. And today is another neckbeard video. Neckbeards are those magnificent gentlemen with a fedora on their head and a beard on their neck. They enjoy the finer things in life, like anime, Mountain Dew, and sometimes hitting on the ladies. In this moment, I am euphoric, not because of any phony god's blessing, but because this is more neckbeards from Reddit. This story comes to us from Reddit Tales of Neckbeards, one of two places you can now leave your stories about neckbeards. Techbeard stalks me junior year. This story takes place 6 years back, so exact details are a little fuzzy and there won't be any dialogue. From 9th to 11th grade, I experienced quite a few neckbeards, as I was prime neckbeard bait during those years. I was relatively small-statured, kinda thick, long hair, small face, etc. I also openly liked anime, so that didn't help my case. This neckbeard, though, is one I think about every time I read these stories, as he was one of the creepier ones. My junior year of high school, I went to a trade school for interactive media. We did lessons on Photoshop, graphic design, animation, etc. I sat at the computer in the front of the classroom, with him at the computer behind me. Since it was a technology-based class, we'll call him Techbeard. He didn't have a beard, but he did wear the trademark hat every now and then. Had some of the foulest body odor I've ever had the displeasure of smelling. It didn't smell of Mountain Dew or Doritos, but more like years of built-up sweat and piss. He wasn't fat, but he was definitely round, and had his hair cut in a mohawk that he rarely ever styled up, leaving it to lay flat and messy on top of his head. I have no idea what the author means by he wasn't fat, but he was definitely round. Like the shape of his head, maybe? So the hat, when he wore it, did him a service. Since it was a trade school and we were required to dress business casual, he couldn't wear anything below a polo and well-kept jeans. So he wore pretty much the bare minimum. A dark polo, which still had dark spots from where he stained it with God knows what, and baggy slacks. Every now and again, he'd wear a crooked pair of cheap wireframe glasses. Whenever we had free time in class, we were pretty much let loose to fuck around on our computers or phones. Most of the students would just play on Photoshop, use it as a study hall, or play whatever games weren't blocked by the school filter. My computer, though, was registered as an admin computer, since the teacher would regularly use it to hook up to the projector at the front of the room. Admin computer equals no filter, so my friend and I would usually just watch K-pop videos. Don't judge me, I've been stuck since 2011 and have yet to successfully break free. Or anime FMVs on my computer. Since he sat behind me, he would oversee our activity and make his way over to us. Although I have always been a pretty aggressive and mean person, I would at least try to give people a chance to prove themselves to be tolerable. I tried very hard to not be an asshole, so of course I was initially welcoming of him. That was my mistake. Techbeard would happily involve himself in conversations about anime, but when it came to me and my friend listening to K-pop and watching the videos, he went full critic. He insulted the music, insulted the female singers for their bodies, and insulted the male singers' sexualities. I've suffered for years with identity issues, severe anxiety, and clinical depression, and as silly as it sounds, K-pop got me through a lot of it. Needless to say, his harsh criticism of something that I credit for saving my life hurt. My friend and I essentially told him to get bent, and it worked for a few days, but not much longer. This is the proper way to hit on someone, by the way. Just insult something they like. Not that K-pop isn't worth insulting a lot of the time. Techbeard started coming to me every single chance he got, whether we were supposed to be working or not, and would flirt with me, ask me for my number or Facebook, and try to hang out outside of school. He would hover over me while I did my schoolwork, while I texted other people trying to see who he could bum my number off of, and while I drew so he could critique my work. I started to get more aggressive with him in hopes of getting him to back off without full-on ruining his outlook on life. It didn't work. For the first few months of the year, he didn't have any of the telltale neckbeard personality/behavioral traits, so the most unsettling thing about him was his smell and his obnoxious flirting. But as time went on, he got more comfortable. One day he came into school and approached me as normal, rolling over to my computer in his chair and trying to start a conversation. But the smell, that sweat and piss smell, was stronger than normal, to the point where I wanted to throw up. When he stood from his chair for the morning pledge, I realized why. The backside of his pants had a massive tear as if he had released a nuclear-level fart and blew out his pants. The fabric was hanging on for dear life, and when the warm air from the floor vent just below him caught the fabric just right, everyone caught a glimpse of his bare ass and his, He had come to school with no underwear and shredded slacks, and there was no way he didn't know, as it was winter in Ohio. He definitely felt the frigid air on his shriveled up junk. When my friend and I pointed it out to him, he looked at me with a grin, asking, "See something you like?" Done. I reported him to the teacher, and he was sent to the office until his parents could bring him new clothes. God, that's fucking gross. What is this guy, insane? I feel like he should get in more trouble than that. After that, the flirting and advances became more frequent, as if me seeing his mini pecker gave him heightened confidence. And since I was trying hard to avoid trouble at a school other than my local high school, I had to resist the urge to fight him each time. Now for our school, each wing of lockers were organized by local school and then alphabetically. Since he did not go to the same local high school as me, he was in a different wing than me. His last name was also further into the alphabet than mine, so even if he did, we wouldn't have been next to each other. The only exceptions were in cases of bullying or harassment, in which the staff would move the victim to a different locker. I'm sure you see where this is going. The girl in the locker beside me left the school to return to her local school, and so the locker was vacant for a few days. I didn't anticipate being neighbor-free all year, as I did know that bullying/harassment happened often enough that someone would move in soon. As our school was nearly packed full and empty lockers were a rarity, I was confident someone would move in soon. After a few days of no shoulder-to-shoulder contact, I came in to see Techbeard moving his massive amounts of trash and books into the neighboring locker. Now, while he was definitely a creep and a weirdo, he smelled too foul for anyone to get close enough to bully or harass him. Turns out he cried about harsh treatment to get staff to move him into the empty locker by mine the second he learned it was open. Great, now I had to avoid my locker at all costs. Luckily, my textbooks were easy enough to carry from class to class without stopping by my locker, and since he had a different lunch period than me, I could stop by before lunch to switch out anything I needed without encountering him. Oh great, the system that's supposed to keep people away from someone is being abused to do the opposite. What does this guy feel like when he's whining to get his locker moved, making up bullies or whatever? It's sad. The person who hates him the most is the one he just moved next to. It worked through the rest of the year with only a few interactions in the hallway, here and there. Oh, but that didn't stop him. His in-class flirting kept up as normal, but then it began oozing out into the outside world. He found my Facebook and began contacting me from a Facebook filled with Juggalo-styled skeletons and skulls, as well as those grandparent-styled selfies that offered a close-up of his faint stubble and double chin. When I blocked him, he contacted my friends instead in an attempt to get my number or other forms of communication. The tip of the iceberg, I think they mean more like the straw that broke the camel's back here, was when our county fair came around. I didn't go on this particular day since my mother refused to give me money. Bless her cheap ass for this day. I sat online watching good old 2012 to 2013 YouTube gaming videos when my friend messaged me on Facebook. This friend in particular was my ex-boyfriend who had always been incredibly protective of me. Apparently Techbeard was running around the fairgrounds approaching any of my friends that he could find. My ex wasn't the only one who ended up messaging me about him that day, asking if they knew where I was at and where he could find me. Approaching my ex was where he went wrong. He told him that I was at home and that if he didn't get a hint and leave me the hell alone, he'd personally kick his ass. I guess it worked because after that I didn't hear from him online and he avoided me at school as much as he could. Up until recently, I haven't seen him since that year. When I do see him, it's when he comes into my work with his mother, and he definitely hasn't changed. I've come out as trans since then, born female, identify as male, and changed my name so he luckily couldn't find me even if he tried and has no chance of recognizing me. He wasn't the last neckbeard I had to deal with at that school. There were two more at that school in particular. But after him, I gave up trying to be nice and grew more comfortable telling people to fuck off to their face. I might post the other neckbeard stories here, but they're definitely much shorter. Techbeard, get fucking bent. Wow, what a coward that guy was. He was completely obsessed to the point of online stalking, but the second someone threatened to beat him up, he just disappeared with his tail between his legs. I guess it's better than if he kept it up, but I still find it pathetic. Some guys manage to convince themselves that a girl hating on them all the time is just being tsundere or something. I don't know if this is specific to anime fans actually, but it's painful to watch. If someone says they hate you, they probably just hate you. Anyway, I feel like I should read some posts from Reddit Just Neckbeard Things before we call it a day. As guys started to fuck milk bottles and ball bearings these days, it's time for many women to reevaluate their worth. Just because you can get in I'd smash but wouldn't bother chasing zone frequently doesn't mean you are queen. Guys literally fuck sponges when in shortage. I keep seeing women losing their minds over why guys stop texting these days or why they only want nudes once in a while, and the overwhelming majority of responses are, "Forget about it, queen. There are lots of men out there who would treat you better," completely in denial of what's going on. You are probably easy and your sexuality is the only quality you can attract men with, and when it comes to effortless sex, men don't have any standards at all. Remove any physicality and now you know how people see you. If your suitors and male friends disappeared, congratulations. You aren't queen, you are concubine. Ah yes, men don't have any standards. That's not projecting or anything. Hey, someone posted my Lucas video here. I fully approve of that, by the way. Lucas should be posted on this subreddit more often. How does this have anything to do with I'm better than your asshole boyfriend, milady? Making fun and or criticizing women doesn't equate to this dude as a neckbeard. Also, you know, people wanting girls to be virgins isn't a neckbeard thing, right? Me and some other men that aren't neckbeards rather have a girl who is a nice and respectable woman who has no idea how to have sex rather than a girl who's banged 3 other dudes. Just saying. Everyone is allowed to have their own preferences. You are allowed preferences, yes. I can't believe 3 is his example number. 3 is a number that makes the average guy look like Hugh Hefner. Oh no, several people have seen her naked. She is totally ruined. You swallowed too much propaganda, making you unable to find happiness as a wife and mother during your prime years, so you use your beauty and fitness to harvest dopamine on social media to combat the loneliness and emptiness from not meeting your potential. And the psych engineering from propaganda and college has programmed you to fight for causes meant to disable your energy because your efforts are guided by people that created the problems in the first place. Don't block me. I love you. Meeting her potential is apparently getting married and having kids at 19. Yeah, that sounds fun. Remember the guy who wouldn't play a game if he had to play as a female character? Well, here's the opposite. This would have been one of the best games I would have ever played on the phone. Hot anime girls. I was hella looking forward to the game, but it gave me a gay-ass dude character. And yes, just because of that, you guys get a 1 star. With 2 gigabytes of data, there should be a character customization. What a letdown. Would have gave you guys a 5 star, but because of the guy-ass dude you guys gave me, suck a dick. Waste space. I don't want to look at a gay-ass dude. Now I'm just wondering how gay this male character could have possibly looked. I'm gonna picture them starting him with Xander from Drawn Together, by the way. Anyway, that is about all the time I have for you today. Thanks for watching, everyone. If you liked the video, please leave a like. If you have something to say, let me know in the comments. Comments actually help with engagement ratings, so it is helpful no matter what. If you're new here and want more neckbeards, nice guys, and Reddit relationships, among other things, consider subscribing. It will let you see my content easier. Now I'd like to thank my epic patrons who are giving me money so I can keep saying fuck in my videos. I know people like it when I do that, so thanks to them. Update, we've now got coronavirus cases in my county, but I'm still fine, so let's not worry about it too much. I'll probably be covering some Reddit relationships later this week. I have some I've been saving, as usual. Well, that's about it. Have a great day, everyone, and don't play any mobile games if they don't let you play as hot anime chicks exclusively.